Okay, I think that's better. Hi, everybody. I haven't been on here in so long, and I am finally settled in Connecticut. And I know for many, many months I was very vague booking about what was going on in our life. And so I thought it would be time to come on and talk about. What has been going on and why I'm starting over in 2020. So this all goes back to Memorial Day weekend. My husband came home and was expecting to be laid off last summer. And so we had to plan for him being laid off and our finances and what we were going to do with my business and where we were going to move and we were going to move home and all that stuff. Concurrently, he was interviewing for a position that was going to be in Boston for 12 weeks. So it took 12 weeks for him to interview for this position in Boston. So it's basically started Memorial Day and ended Labor Day. And then after that, or concurrently, it was taking his current job that long to decide their layoff structure, layoff plans, all this stuff. So it all kind of worked alongside of each other. We thought we were going to move to Boston. We kind of had a plan going. And then the company ended up giving the position that he thought he was going to get to another person. And at the almost exact same time, his current job decided they weren't going to lay people off. So we basically were back to status quo. So it's like, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. Anyway, it ended up being that a couple weeks later, so the end of September, they decided, yes, actually, we are going to go ahead with layoffs. And so then we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, again, where we were going to live. He was interviewing for positions. So for the whole month of November, we lived with friends and family in Ohio. It was nice to be able to spend time with family, but it was not so nice to not have a home base. I wasn't doing anything with my business before we left Northern Virginia. I sold off pretty much everything that I had, or I donated it. And so I am basically starting from scratch. The other thing that I've really been dealing with, and I know a lot of you who watch me struggle with, is my migraines. The week before Thanksgiving, I had Botox for migraines, which they give you 30 some shots in your forehead and your temples and the back of your head and your neck. And I've been struggling with migraines and some pretty bad neck pain since then. So I just had a lot longer getting started time. We also moved from our condo into a house. So we've had to grow into our house and get things that we needed for my office. So I am going to have a whole bunch of videos coming soon. I'm going to give you a tour of the new space, my new business space downstairs. I have some haul videos coming, but I just wanted to talk briefly about kind of what my plan is moving into 2020. And hopefully, you'll stick around and still enjoy my content and hang out with me sometimes on these lives. I do enjoy coming on here and talking to all of you. So what I'm doing is I've been going to a lot of different places in Connecticut. We are currently in the Stamford, Greenwich, Norwalk area of Connecticut, and I really love it here. I think it's going to be a really great place for me. I wasn't happy in Northern Virginia for a really long time. I'm pretty sure that most of last year I was depressed on top of having issues with, the uncertainty of what was going to go on with our lives, where we were going to live and all that kind of stuff. It was extremely stressful. So I have been exploring all sorts of places here, and man, I thought the Northern Virginia and DC thrift stores were expensive. This place is like beyond. So I am going to have to change my strategy, I'm pretty sure, here. And I know I'm going to have to pay up for a lot more stuff than I thought. Unfortunately, I know a lot of you really love my reseller boxes, but I don't know how I would be able to get the amount of inventory and quantities to be able to make those. So those are going to be on the back burner for a while until I make some connections and get my groove back, till Rebecca gets her groove back. But so that's one thing. I'm kind of going to eliminate that. The other thing is I've been trying to source online a little bit more, and I will share what I've been doing with that. I have a box from B&G Wholesale, I think they're called, or B&G Liquidations, that I'm going to do an unboxing. I just got it yesterday. I have been trying to do some online auctions. So there's a lot of antique auctions around here and estate sales. They're online. It's nice because you don't have to go and wait in line and do all that. So I purchased a huge 50-pound bulk of jewelry. So I will do a video on that and kind of show you what I got and what I think will come out of that. There were some lessons learned during my first purchase of the giant thing of jewelry. So that was interesting because, you really are like, oh, great, I'm going to get all of this jewelry. Well, when you have 20 pounds of jewelry that are tangled and you have to sit there for an hour or two and detangle jewelry and match earrings and figure out what's worth something and look it up. It's a lot more time consuming than you think. So while you are getting all this stuff in bulk, there is a huge time commitment, a time chunk that goes into sorting and figuring out what you have and how to list it and all of that kind of stuff. So that is a lesson learned already this year. And I am going to try my hand at the bins this year, which I haven't done. Like I said, I've been having a lot of neck pain. So bending over and digging through bins right now is probably not in my best interest. But that's going to be something that I'm going to have to try if I want to grow. And the other thing is Amazon FBA. So I have always wanted to do Amazon FBA. I have done merchant fulfilled FBA before, selling just books and some small stuff out of our home. So I am going to be testing my hands in the water there and seeing if that might be a better option, living here, doing that kind of stuff versus thrifting all the time. And then finally, I really want to get more consignment style clients. So I really want to get more people who I work with on a personal basis, whether it's helping them reorganize their closet or helping them, purge their stuff. I think that it's really important to build networks, and I'm hoping that will also allow me to make some friends in this area because, as many of you know who have moved as a grown woman, especially when you don't have any children, it is very hard to make friends later in life. So I'm going to try to, get involved in some organizations and be able to network and meet people to, have them call me and say, hey, I'm doing my spring cleaning and do you want to come see what I have? Do you want to buy it for me? Do you want to do consignment? That kind of stuff. So I learned a lot last year about doing consignment just with friends. And so that is something that I'm going to bring forward. I'm hoping that I can, finally get my health under control. I've really been struggling with that. I do think a lot of it, the stress of moving and all that kind of stuff has been, challenging, but I'm here now. And I am looking forward to 2020. I am in such a much better space, being able to have a house and being able to have a lot more space. This area is so much more like community based, and it reminds me a lot more of Ohio, except we don't have beautiful water. I mean, we have Lake Erie, but it's not like having the gorgeous sound here and the beaches. So, the weather is similar to what we had in Ohio. The traffic, I know a lot of you, when I was talking about it on social media, warned me about the traffic here, but The traffic in DC is beyond anything I've ever experienced. So even driving around here for the past 7 weeks or so, it has been, my anxiety of just driving around this area is so much lower that I just enjoy being here so much more. So it just seemed, we live in a neighborhood versus an area with a lot of commercial buildings. And so, yeah, I think that I am in a really good space. I am hoping to create more content. I know a lot of you message me on Instagram and stuff, but sometimes I don't get all of those. So you can always go to my website, which is bexabosslady.com, and send me a message through there. I typically get those better than better than the Instagram messages, because I also get a lot of like spam messages on Instagram and a lot of creeps. So I have to filter those out. And so if you really genuinely have questions and stuff, please do that. Go to my website and submit a thing through there, because it's much easier. But I am much closer to New York City. There's going to be a big wholesale, I think it's called Coterie, Coterie, Coterie. And it's in February. I've never been there before. I have been to the big wholesale market in Vegas, the ASD market. So it'll be interesting to then see the difference between that and this. So I'll get to go there, hopefully make some connections. And, there are other things you can do with Amazon besides just buying stuff and reselling it. You can do where you put your own name on things, private label. So, you can start your own brand and put your own private label when you meet these wholesalers and things like that. And so, there's a lot of things that I'm going to explore, and I hope that you guys will stick around. I definitely love sharing my journey, which many of you know, and I try to keep it real, which I think is super important nowadays. There are a lot of misinformation out there and things that I don't know. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups for Poshmark and stuff, and it's kind of terrifying to see some of the answers that people post when people post questions in there, because it's just so inaccurate. And starting over, there is nothing wrong with starting over. Many of you know that I had a gym. I own my own fitness studio in Ohio, and I had to start over when we moved to Virginia, which basically was devastating for me because I absolutely loved my gym. I had an amazing community. I had great employees. I had great staff that, worked there, and the people who came were amazing. And so, I had to start over, and then I had to start over again when I got really sick and almost lost my kidney and had a hysterectomy and all of that kind of stuff. So starting over is nothing new to me. It's almost refreshing, but it's kind of a bummer that I had to go out and buy all sorts of new inventory and storage systems and everything to fit downstairs. So I'm already kind of in a hole, but that's okay. I'll be able to dig myself out. It's not a problem. But the saddest thing for me was definitely last November and December, where I was basically having no sales because I had nothing listed. But it was very nice to be able to spend time with family and be able to just take a break from everything, because I think last year was the second half of last year was extremely stressful. So if you have the ability to take a break, or you feel like you're, really just struggling, just do it. Sometimes you just have to do it. And if you aren't financially able, or you don't have the resources to be able to do that, restructure what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with changing what you're doing or altering how you do it or your plan. Not everybody has to do everything the same way. I share my stuff to hopefully give you inspiration to be able to adjust or, turn it, maybe put pieces and parts of what I do into your business to be able to make your business successful as well. And that's what I think you should try to do. So if you're stuck, you're feeling like you're in a rut. I was kind of forced to change what I was doing, which actually ended up being great. But there are situations where you're forced and it ends up not so great. And that's where I would encourage you to just keep your head up and sit down and say, okay, maybe you're doing a side hustle and you work full time and you're a mom and it's just getting really overwhelming. Maybe you just change the way you're running your business, your side hustle. You change your hours, you change the amount of work you're doing, trying to make it easier, not harder. And that's one of the things that I really, making it easier, not harder, which is part of the thing that I was thinking about Amazon was, you just send your stuff in, and it's not as physically, it's not as physical as thrifting is, going out and finding stuff all the time. But I have made a couple good connections here as far as consignment stores and resale shops. And I'm hoping that will allow me to be able to get inventory versus going out and hunting for it all the time. So yeah, this is not meant to be a super long video. I just wanted to come on and give an update and say I am back. And I got a lot of new makeup for Christmas, and some headbands, and I'll give a new office tour and my new organization. One of the other things about starting over is that I learned so much about what my process and procedures were at the old space and what I wished I would have had. And so now creating the new area, I'm able to say, okay, I want my storage to look like this. I want the flow to go like this. And that way, you can get more organized and synchronized and all that stuff. So I think that it's going to be good. And I can't wait to, share some of this stuff. The other thing is I love buying products and trying things. And so I'm going to start doing some product reviews. I enjoy it. And so, a lot of people have always asked me for recommendations on things. And so you might see some, reviews on here. I don't know, who knows. I am decent with makeup. People have always asked me to do how do you do your eyes and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think that would be a hilarious video because I am not that, I don't know. You see all these young kids nowadays that are doing their makeup and they look like they've been working at the Mac counter for 20 years and they're 15. And I can't even, I just want to look like I'm awake. I just want to look like I'm awake and my eyes are open and I don't look deceased, like some color on my face. It really just isn't, it's not that serious, but yeah, so hopefully you stick around for that kind of stuff. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to stick around for a couple minutes and answer them. Sometimes it's hard. One of the last videos I did it live, and there was a guest or a watcher that was, kind of very upset that I wasn't constantly responding to them. But when you're in the middle of a mode and you're in the middle of explaining things, it's hard to watch the screen, maintain your train of thought and respond. And then, when people watch it back, it's hard to watch videos where you don't know what the person is asking or you're not in the chat. So I try to be as engaging as possible. But sometimes when I'm doing a live tutorial or a live, lesson or something or review, especially when it comes to my mental stuff, because sometimes the migraine medicine, definitely messes with my thought process. So if I'm distracted, it makes it very hard for me nowadays to get back on track. Now, 10 years ago, I would have been able to give you the lesson, respond to everyone in the comments, just back and forth. But unfortunately, I've realized my limitations on that, and I can't do that anymore. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm happy to be back. I am excited about the prospects, and I am going to go film a haul video for you guys. So that will probably be up tomorrow. And to keep everything consistent, I'm going to try my very best to post at least 2 videos a week, and then maybe try to make a consistent time every week to go live. It's that, like I said, again, with my health, it's hard for me to commit to those kind of things because I never know how I'm going to feel day to day. And but I do want to make time to go live every week with everyone so I can answer questions and just kind of chat and talk about what's going on and maybe help you on a more personal level. So don't forget, if you want more content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Obviously, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.